So yesterday was a very productive conference, the African Environmental Law Congress, the third in a series of events. We started our day by enjoying particularly insightful and inspiring remarks by a high-level panel that included, of course, it was chaired by yourself and included speakers such as the chair of the IUCN World Commission on Environmental Law, of course, the Director General of IUCN sent us a message, Arnold Krell-Huber, the acting director of the United Nations Environmental Programme in the Law Division, and the Secretary General of the Mohammed VI Foundation for Environmental Protection, Ella Nousa Alawi. This event, which is co-organized by the IUCN World Commission on Environmental Law, the United Nations Environment Programme, and the Hassan II International Center for Environmental Training, is, as I mentioned, focused on African environmental law, more specifically, water, desertification, and law. We started our considerations by outlining that Africa has both a richness of nature as well as is heavily affected by a wide range of environmental challenges. We heard compelling data that spoke to both those facts. We also heard about the interlinkages between cultural, social, environmental, and economic dimensions. We heard about the right and duties dimensions of environmental law. We heard about that the future on the planet is about our ability to face interconnected crises, namely the global loss of biodiversity and climate change. We heard about the importance of having a strong link between the scientific community and the legal community. We heard about the dramatic loss of nature and globally. We also heard about the critical decade for environmental law, which is aligned with the 5th Montevideo Programme, as well as the importance of a green recovery from the pandemic and an enhanced resilience in the future. We heard about environmental law as a whole and water law as a dimension on its own, and how they interconnect, interlink, and interface one with another. We heard about the functions of water and the importance of effectivity and efficiency in Africa to look at environment and development in tandem. We heard about the fact that the Africa advancement of its social economic growth is in tandem with improving the environmental laws, that there is a direct that even though African countries are facing a myriad of challenges, trends show that there are great strides being made. Environmental law in Africa has not progressed in a vacuum, but is connected to internal and external challenges. And we heard about climate change, biodiversity, loss and damages, and water scarcity. Approach in developing legislation. We heard about examples from Uganda to Tunisia, for example. We heard about the fact that the free trade agreement also is to play an important role in the future of Africa. And as such, there could be an important space to the environment and enable the continent to trade in environmental services. We heard about the fact that environmental protection and the human right to sanitation. One of the speakers found that if it is not achieved, then development remains an illusion. We heard further call for environmental law and nature and people-centric approaches, and an opportunity to protect the rights of people and nature. We heard that connected to that, there is a challenge that environmental law could be used to achieve the opposite, that it is important, we are aware of the challenge and we address it. We also heard about looking at how the law translates from the text and court decision to influencing people's behavior and institutions. The reality of power asymmetry between stakeholders when it comes to access to resources such as finance, knowledge, technical capacity. We heard about important concepts of rights and duties of states. That there is also a human entitlement to clean and healthy environment, but that the entitlement is pointless if the environment is not clean and healthy. Scale on a clean and healthy environment ability to perform various functions and provide ecosystemic services. We heard about the cultural dimensions of the question, cultural relationship with the environment. We also heard about the important concept of Ubuntu. I am because we are, and since we are, I am. learning more about the important work of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. We looked at the integration and interfaces between climate change as the nationally determined contributions to the Paris Agreement, specifically of African countries. It was noted that agriculture was one of the top priorities. It was also noted that water is a particularly important priority as well, is the NDCs. The speaker that outlined those elements also outlined that the water availability played an important role when it comes to fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic. He was also calling for enhanced convergence between the fight against desertification and the fight against climate change. We heard about the right to water and the right of water. We heard about the global and universal dimensions of these rights, as well as what make them context-specific, specifically in Africa. We heard finally about the important connections between the environment and the tourism industry, and what is also connected to, of course, the protection of the environment and the use of yesterday. Thank you very much.